Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones with Veterans in Politics. Today our guest is going to be Cynthia Balle to discuss the family single-handedly dismantled by Rhonda Forsberg, who's currently a Clark County Family Court judge, and other family court judges as well. Before we get to Cynthia Balle, Jim.
Yeah, well, it would be... It wouldn't be respectful to the person that I'm going to briefly talk about after this if I didn't bring up politics first.
Sure.
Okay, so first and foremost, here's the thing. And Steve, you and I have been talking about this forever, okay? About how you have to educate yourself and understand these candidates and the races, and so you don't get, lack of a better term, I guess, get hoodwinked by some of these commercials. So MoveOn.org has probably my least favorite commercial because it's so disingenuous and completely wrong in what they're saying. And they continually talk about how abortion is actually on the table in this election, okay? And that's what they're calling for everybody to vote on. And they specifically say vote Democrat because Republicans are going to take away a woman's right to have an abortion. Specifically here in Nevada. Okay, to make it as brief and less dorky as I can, politicians in Nevada do not have anything to do with the abortion law in Nevada. In Nevada, according to our Constitution, a woman has a right to have an abortion up to 25 weeks and 6 months after she's pregnant. Okay, that was signed into law by a proclamation that was voted on by the public in 1995. The only way that state law can be changed is if it is changed by the actual voters themselves. So it does not matter if you're running for Congress, if you're running for U.S. Senate, if you're running for state assembly, if you're running for state senator, if you're running for governor, you have no say in that. It directly comes back on the actual citizens of the state of Nevada. They would have to vote on a different affirmation, and then it would have to be ratified again. So therefore, when MoveOn.org says that abortion is on the table this year, it's not. And it's a lie, and it really drives me nuts.
Well, somebody needs to do something about all these misleading commercials that are happening.
Yeah. I'm surprised that, and unfortunately I haven't looked into it enough, and I should. I don't understand why these political action committees can't actually be held liable for falsehoods like this, because it is actually a falsehood. Now, if you don't want to vote for a Republican, that's fine, but don't do it based on a lie from a commercial. I don't think that's right way to go. I really don't. And then, I'm gonna try some more. So unfortunately, Johnny Jackson passed away. You called me last night and let me know that. Now, I wasn't as close to Johnny Jackson as you were, but interesting enough, when I started thinking about him away here, Johnny Jackson actually introduced me to you.
Really?
So I've actually known Johnny Jackson as long as I've known you. It was at Ed Hamilton's meet and greet at Blush in November of 2007 when he was going to he was thinking about running for Congress, and Johnny Jackson was helping him. And I went to that event, and there was a few people there, Dr. John Stanhagen, Monty Miller, bring up some old names.
That's it.
And you came. And
I guess I'm an old name too.
No, but you came, and I didn't know who you were because I had never met you before, and you came, and Johnny actually said, "Hey, this is Steve Sanson, president of Veterans of Politics." And I shook your hand and said, "No, nice to meet you." You gave me your card. And we talked a little bit. And the next day I sent you an email and said it was nice to meet you. And 2 weeks later we had lunch. And now here we are.
Yeah.
So, Johnny Jackson was a good guy. He had a lot of energy. He was, he was always involved in everything.
Yeah.
And real good guy. I had a lot of positive energy. And when you called me last night, it's really sad that he passed. But here's the only good thing that I can say. It's not good that he passed away, but when we talk about when we pass away, what kind of legacy do we want to leave? Whether it's, and I hopefully believe most of it's good. For me, it's all good. When you talk about Johnny Jackson in this town, people know who Johnny was.
Yeah, for folks that don't know, Johnny Jackson, or Johnny Bang Bang Jackson, passed away yesterday of a massive heart attack. Military veteran, former boxer. He was a husband, father, grandfather, and he was involved in every election cycle that I could remember, going back, 15 plus years. Yeah. And he flyers cars and homes or whatever, and try to be a campaign manager on some of these judicial races. I think judicial races is one of the things that he really liked. And he's going to be missed. And I like to give a moment of silence for that. And, this year alone, we lost several folks. Tiffany Watson, Libertarian candidate who ran for Congress, died at 37 years old.
Yeah.
And then we lost Keith Rogers, who was a military correspondent for the Review Journal. Mm-hmm. That was a friend of ours. And we lost Steve Ross, former city councilman, and now we lost Johnny Jackson. I can't remember before Tiffany if there was anybody that passed away prior this year, but if I missed anyone, I apologize. But those are the ones that I remember off the top of my head. So there's a lot of deaths this year. Usually it would come one person would die every 5 years or something like that, and now we got 1, 2, 3, 4 people died in a single year. It's just crazy. Some people will say it's the vaccine, but so I'll just leave it at that, because that could be a whole story all by itself.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to take any more time away. We have Cynthia Balle, and did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah.
We're just gonna go with that. Okay. Tell us about yourself, Cynthia.
I'm a mom of 4. I work
4 kids?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The youngest girl just turned 21.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Who's the oldest?
27.
Okay.
Yeah.
All girls?
2 girls and 2 boys.
Oh, you got 2.
23 and 16. He just turned 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. I've been living here in Vegas since 80, I don't even remember, 80 something. My parents moved here. So I'm from Chicago originally. Work for Clark County School District right now. And I'm subbing for them. Okay. I didn't take a job this year, but it was, since 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's it. What else do you want to say?
Let's talk about family court. When did you first walk into that family courthouse on Pecos and Bonanza there?
2008.
2008. And what year are we in?
2022.
And you still have family court issues?
Mm-hmm.
The same issue you had from 8?
Yeah. After a decade.
Okay.
They just finally got 2 hearings they should have heard in
2014.
Huh.
Well, tell us about the corruption that's going on, and please include judges with with their names as well, so people could understand what judge to do a preemptory challenge and to remove themselves from.
Well, I've experienced, I started in Department M, which was Potter, Bill Potter.
Who's no longer on the bench?
No longer on the bench. I had Bill Potter up until, good geez, when was it? Sometime in 2014 or 15. Cynthia Steele replaced him.
Who's no longer on the bench?
And she wasn't at the time, so she was temporary. She was replaced by Forsberg in...
Who was appointed to the bench.
Yes.
And now is running for a
re-election.
appellate court seat. No, she's running for appellate court seat, not re-election. Yeah. Appellate court seat against Deborah Westbrook.
Oh, get out there and vote. She took over in it had to be after 2016. Had to be after 2018, I would say. The first time I was in front of her was October 2019, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, because I had already won my Supreme Court appeal by then. It was a repeal and remand against Cynthia Steele.
Okay, so you won an appellate court decision against Judge Steele, former Judge Steele.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Going back to Potter, I wished for him back because I understood his crazy. I could deal with that. I'd rather deal with that. Yeah. But we had a series. It took me 2 years to get a divorce, first of all. I had been a stay-at-home mom since my second child was born. Okay. And by that time I had 4. The youngest was not even 1. Okay. So I was kept in court a really long time. No lawyer. So they never really...
You couldn't afford a lawyer?
No. Okay. No, he had all access to all of the money. And so I was really put in a position. So then he was ordered to pay, and I got a lawyer. They kept on withdrawing because they were never paid. There was never an enforcement on it. So this went on and on and on.
Are we still in Potter's Court?
We're in Potter's Court, okay. Over and over for enforcement. And it got really bad. Once I got to, with just, nothing was ever really presented. We never had a trial. You know, it was just, we'll deal with this next time. We'll deal with this next time.
You never had an evidentiary hearing?
No, not until just recently, but we didn't even really have one.
Did you ask for one?
Yeah, but we settled for our divorce before we got there with a senior judge. Okay. Everything was fine. My ex-husband stopped paying his alimony and child support in 2014. And that's when things got really rough for me because, like I said, I worked while he went to school. We moved back here, so I was supposed to go back to school. So I went back. My last semester, he stopped paying. It really screwed me. But I did what I could do, so that's when I started working for Clark County School District. So now Potter, next time. The last time I saw Potter was in 2015, or the summer of 2016, maybe. I could be having that a little bit wrong. But then here comes Cynthia Steele. And Cynthia Steele, I was never served properly, which was part of my appeal because he had served a withdrawn attorney. It was somebody introduced me to, and he really doesn't do family court. He does Ninth Circuit stuff. So a really great guy, but he couldn't do the family court things. And I guess my ex had gone in there and said she owes me this much money. I don't owe her anything. Cynthia Steele signed, sealed, and delivered it. When I found out about it,
you weren't present?
No, I didn't know about it. My
Cynthia,
second grade son told me.
So Steele did an ex parte without you being present in court? And
then I requested.
You didn't have counsel in there either?
No, I never had counsel.
Oh, okay.
Were
you properly served?
No, never got a notice from it, ever. So that's why I'm saying I wasn't there. So I went back, and by that time, Becker, I think it was Judge Becker.
Nancy Becker?
Yes, was there. Oh, actually, Jack, what is his name? Retired Judge Jack Amos? Sound familiar?
No.
he was sitting in. He was great. Oh no, maybe it was Hardcastle. Is there a man Hardcastle?
Gerald.
Yes. It could have been him. I don't remember which one. But I had him first. And he was great. He was like right down the buck. You know, he could see I didn't have a lawyer. I was trying to look on my phone for like all these dates and whatever. You know, I said, I just want enforcement. Then I had Becker. She denied. I said, you know, I wasn't properly served. I didn't know about the hearing. I'd like to come back. She denied it. So I went to Supreme Court and
What was her grounds to deny your motion for not being served?
I don't remember. I don't remember. It was really that it was fine. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I don't know this specifically about family court, but I remember I actually had something sent to me. I just get this letter in the mail.
Yeah.
That said I had a judgment against me for like $10,500, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was never served anything. Now all of a sudden it's already went through the court and a judge signed off. I'm like, wait a minute.
I know. Well, in family court, the name of the game I found out is the longer you can prolong something, the worse off it is. At least for me, because I didn't have an attorney that whole time.
Yeah.
You know, but I was pretty happy. I represented myself. I was pretty happy with the divorce and what was laid out there, and I never asked for anything else. I followed the rules. He did not. And it was more about the kids, because family court, honestly, and I'll get back to the timeline, but family court, honestly, they are alienating parents from their kids. And in some of these cases, I know it's not just me. I absolutely know, and it usually is because of non-representation in court. And when you get to the point...
Well, you know, 65% of family court is pro se litigants.
Yeah, and they use the paperwork from Marshall Willick's law firm on their...
That piece of shit law firm. You think that there'll be
family
more...
center across the way.
You think that there'll be more accommodating to pro se litigants because of the high number of pro se litigants within family
All I can
court?
say is this to everybody. If you can get out of that court and get to the appellate court, you are much better off. They are very easy to deal with. It's a panel.
But you got to go through the family court before you could go appeal.
Let them make their judgment. But see, that's the
So
problem.
basically,
I
what
never
you're saying is that if you have a ruling that's unfavorable and you think that there's corruption or misleading, they should always appeal.
Yes, you should appeal, because, I mean, I didn't know this. I guess I should have appealed. See, but you have to have a final judgment. See, this was the problem. His lawyer never let there be a final judgment. It was always to be continued, which in 10 years, I, lost home, time with my kids, potential income, just the freedom to be unburdened of this horrible,
Don't
tragic
forget the stress and the mental anguish.
Yeah,
all
that's all I had time to do.
PTSD in some cases.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is so traumatic for me. I never want to. I would rather give him anything he wanted than go back there, ever. I just cannot tell you how horrible. And then, like I said, it divides families. It's not keeping families together. When I went to the Supreme Court, they agreed. I finally got it back, and they agreed a year later. They're like, there was no judicial reason for her dismissing this. There was no hearing. There was no evidence. That it was just his lawyer's evidence, which...
Who dismissed it again?
Steele.
Okay.
Okay, so it was a repeal and remand, which I waited over 2 years for Forsberg to hear. I first met Forsberg because my ex was keeping the child more than he should. So I went back and asked for enforcement. Well, right away, she goes, "You're going to go to mediation." And I'm just sitting there we've been divorced since 2010. Here we are in 2014, 15. I said, mediation.
So if it was 2015, Forsberg was not a judge.
No, it had to be after that. 2019. 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
We were on temporary orders since the last time I had seen Potter in like January 2016 or something, 15, something like that. Temporary orders are not supposed to exceed, 30 days, 3 months? And then you have to even ask for extended, which shouldn't be as long as I had those. It just left the door open. And the kids suffer whether they know it or not. Not having time with both parents is not right.
So are we still on Forsberg right now?
Yeah, Forsberg. And the first thing that she said to me was, by the way, I won't, should I mention his lawyer's name?
Sure, why not?
Preston Razai with the law firm. And then I had recently, the last hearing we had, another guy, he drives around with a truck that says the law on it. I'm not sure who he is, but he was, I guess, there to represent my ex, and the other lawyer didn't say anything. I'm not exactly sure what that's about. I haven't had time to look, but getting back to what I said, when you have to go through this court system for that long, and you have one of the parents breaking the orders, the visitation orders, the kids are getting caught in the middle, they're being turned one side against the other. And then I'm going to give a shout out to this. Then you got the Mediation Center and their list of providers for family counseling. I don't see how you can be objective if you're getting paid by the court or you're on the court's list. One. Nicholas Ponzo.
I know who that is.
Okay, well, Nicholas Ponzo wrote an unofficial report and gave it to my ex-husband, who brought it into court. So his whole basis for having the kids in custody changed was based on hearsay. So at our final evidentiary hearing, which we just had in March, he didn't show up. So everything that I've gone through for the last 10 years should have never happened. There's a reason he didn't show up. It was hearsay.
So I want to know about
It dismantled my life and my family. My youngest son, I'm supposed to see him. I haven't seen him since last year, like on regular visitation in my life.
So what does Forsberg done about that? Did you bring this to her attention?
Like I said, the ex kept him, but from the minute I met her, for some reason, she, right off the bat, did you do this, and this? I said, what are you talking about? His lawyer will put things in briefs, and factual or not, which he should not be doing. He is a clerk, what do they call it?
Officer.
Yeah, an officer of the court. By the way, he's a personal friend and business partner, so he shouldn't even be in there representing him, quite honestly. Talking to the kids outside of court, things like that. And I would bring this stuff up. His lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did the judge do about it? Did you bring this to the judge's attention?
She cut me off every time. If you watch the videos, I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
So she violates your constitutional right.
Oh yeah, she
defend yourself, which is amendment number 14?
Oh yeah, she'll
the right to a fair judiciary.
Well, and I'm Catholic.
Maybe she just likes to hear herself talk.
I don't know. I'm Catholic. I said, I went to counseling with the priest. And, well, your little friends at church aren't good enough. That's what she said to me. And I took offense to that. I'm sure a lot of people would, right? I said,
maybe she's not a churchgoer.
That's really okay, but we have an amendment
True.
that gives me the right to. And anyway, every time I brought up this, and this is what's wrong, she would cut me off. She would insult me.
Insult you, which is against her judicial canons.
She would insult me. She even said to me, when I was on that side of, it's on the tape, when I was on that side of the bench, I didn't find that to be the case. I said something about Nicholas Ponzo. I said, no, I don't want to go to him.
So she's comparing when she was an attorney.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's bias.
Did you file a judicial disciplinary complaint?
I tried. I never ever got.
What does that mean? You tried? Did you file? You filed it or you didn't file it?
I called Bell's office.
Did you file it?
No.
Or didn't you file it?
I did not file it.
Okay.
Due to the fact that right around that time, it must have gotten back to her that it was going to be filed, because at that time, all of a sudden, we have a hearing, which I don't have representation for.
Right.
We show up to the hearing, okay, and I'm like, okay, I'm here with basically nothing. I said, listen, all I have are the hearings from 2008 and forward. I was like, I have nothing new. The court record speaks for itself. I just want enforcement. And I should say, because the district attorney's office, we have to pull them into this. I'm just sorry, because they are supposed to help moms, dads, whoever, collect that money, right? So you don't lose your house. You don't lose this. You don't lose that.
So you went to the DA's child support division?
Yeah, they were supposed to be collecting this, and they never once went after enforcement with him, but ever.
Did you speak to the district attorney about that?
I tried, literally tried and tried, kept calling his office, because he said,
You're supposed to have
on
an
your
open
show,
door policy.
open door policy.
Yeah.
That's what he said. You know who they gave me? His assistant, which I'm not even sure who that is. And I asked for an audit, but I never throw away anything. And I have the original audit. I'm like, how come this one's different than this one? I have a Supreme Court repeal and remand, so you're going by an order that doesn't exist. It's wiped off the books. I was owed like $70-something thousand.
Let's get back to the DA's office. So when you confront them that he stipulated, which was Wilson, that they have an open door policy, but yet refuse to let you walk through that door, what did they say?
Maybe our assistant can help. The last time I called was recently, right after the hearing, and I never got a call back on that one.
So they completely ghost you?
Yeah.
How many times has this happened?
Oh, I've been in there since I started collecting it. I go in there, I call all the time. I would like to talk to, since I found out on the show that he had an open door policy, I've been trying. What year was that? 2017, 18-ish.
And you still haven't walked through that open door policy?
No, and I did write a letter to the Attorney General. I did. I wrote a letter, sent it to his office. They called me back.
Office.
Yes, but yes, I did. They got back to me.
Okay.
I have a real.
But did they get back to you and
they gave me
to fix your problem or no?
Yeah, they gave me the resources available here in Southern Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, move to Reno because they help you there. Here, it's a circle. You call. We don't have resources available. Nope, we don't have. And I've gone to what's the public?
They do have a self-help. Did you use that?
And the scope of my case was so complicated at this point that there is nothing there that they even had for me. They won't even give you the paperwork to for the Supreme Court. Like, they won't help you there. Even legal aid said that that my case was beyond the scope of their program. That's what I was told. I applied for pro bono, not enough resources. And I'm like...
So basically, they just didn't want to give an attorney.
No. And this happens to more people than you would think. And quite honestly, something needs to change. I know some states like Colorado, the children automatically get their own attorney. If that would have happened, then it would have at least been fair.
Wait, hold on a second. In the state of Colorado, the children get their own attorney?
Yes.
How does that work? How does a child know?
To make sure that their interests, that basically what happened here, one's not alienated against the other. You know what I'm saying? To look out for the child's best interest, because that's what family court uses a lot here. Can somebody define best interest for me? Because is it in the best interest of a child when you've raised all of these kids all these years, and he waits until the 3 older ones are over 18, but, to just totally upset the apple cart. I mean, it just didn't matter. I'm like speechless. It's even hard to even articulate the magnitude of, I mean, you can't put a price on the time that you don't have with your children. My son has been kept by his dad since pandemic, not following the orders. Every time I would go in, it got worse for me. So I just really got scared to even say a word because I got more and more taken away. Up to the point where he owed me $80,000. She had me pay him $350 a month, which I'm still paying. In child support.
Did you think about suing them in civil court?
Yes, and I don't know how, and I just am like, every time I go to read the paperwork or try to do that, I just break down. My friend is like, you can't do this yourself. You're like, here right now, I'm starting to get...
Did you think about filing a lawsuit against Rhonda Forsberg in federal court for constitutional violation?
Yeah, because I have a right to parent, and my child has a right to be parented.
Did you do that or no?
I want to do that. Like I said, that's a lot of paperwork. That's all I've been doing for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And then 10 years. Okay. And at this point, somebody said something to me 2 years ago in May. They said, it's not like he's 2 years old and they're taking your kid. Mm-hmm. Sorry. But he's still your kid, even though he's 15, 16. Mm-hmm. And the time that I don't get with him is lost.
Was this a non-parent that told you that?
What do you mean?
That made that statement to you. It's not like he's 2 years old.
No. But I mean, I know they were trying to make me see that. It's a lot different if you're, but they totally switched custody based on nothing. Mm-hmm. His lawyer would just say things in court about me. And I have no criminal record. I've never done anything wrong. But yet my ex does. And that's why I'm like, and every time I would bring up, whoa, wait a minute, you're giving what to what? I was floored. Mm-hmm. I never ever tried to take the kids away from their dad like that. Like, even when he had some problems going on, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, mm-hmm. made accommodations. And always told him what was going on with those kids. Always. Me, I just found out my son's wrestling. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you do when you are just you're at the court's mercy? I don't know why she's so biased. I know his lawyer used to work for the DA's office. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of concerned about who has access to your things.
But you have not filed a complaint against her?
Not yet.
What are you waiting for?
I am waiting for my sanity. I've been doing it so long. I wanted to breathe.
You said you've been...
Yeah, I wanted to breathe.
You said you've been doing this since 2008.
Yeah, right? And before that, the first time I was going to divorce was 2005.
And you said that Forsberg got into your court case since, 18, 19?
19, the end of 19.
19. And now we're in 22.
Yep.
And how much
we just got out of court in March.
How much more sanity do you have to wait for before you file?
Well, you have to understand, I had so little income that,
it doesn't take anything to file. I mean,
right, no. But you have to understand, pandemic, I got no pandemic help, no financial help, right? So I went through not having a place to stay, not being able to afford it, all that kind of stuff, plus the kid. So when he finally had to actually pay me, so I just took a breath. I was just like, okay, I'm living somewhere now, So I took a breath. Mm-hmm. And every time I go to think about doing that, and I think about the work it takes, and I know I can do it, but how do you sue the state of Nevada all the way down the line from this, and this? That's a big, huge on-taking. Like, huge.
Could start by filing the complaint with the Judicial Discipline Commission.
But it's not just Forsberg. It's Forsberg and friends, because she literally made these decisions, and I had told her,
We got to start with somebody.
You got to start with somebody. What do you do about the judges that are off the bench now? Who's responsible for their actions and the oversight?
Well,
those judges.
Well, if you had funding, I would say take them all to federal court, but you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the statute of limitations has expired anyways.
Well, actually, I just found this out because I did research it. As soon as you find out that it can have a long-term effect on whatever, that's when your statute of limitations starts. So I just found that out. So, yeah, it does. And she refused to make him pay penalties.
Well, you could also file state bar complaints against him.
I did that.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, you did that for who?
Preston.
Okay.
Mr. Preston.
No, I'm saying you could do that for Potter.
I don't know. I tried to look up. Potter isn't even in the state anymore, is he?
No,
No?
probably skedaddled out after.
I tried.
Or after he retired. Or
I tried. I was like, if he's in private practice, can I hire him?
That's funny. Sounds like a huge conflict of interest. But do you have anything else?
I do. Okay, so Forsberg made her decisions. In the end, this is what ended up happening, and it was terrible. So it got prolonged because of the expert witness, which never ended up showing up. So at that point is, like you said, you have to report the, what'd you call him? Something of the court. Lawyers are responsible for their actions. And I did not know this until recently. I did a lot of work on this. There's a lot of things that were going on in that courtroom. He, I guess, does a magazine for like legal something. And he had featured Forsberg.
Who's he?
The lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah. So Forsberg's featured.
Oh, so it's a conflict then.
Totally. For her election. I was like.
Did you ask for a recusal?
Yeah, I said, she's like, well, you can write that up. And I was she didn't give me a chance. And then it went from nothing to this fast as soon as all of that started coming up.
Well, you should have filed a motion with the court.
Well, I asked for.
Did you write to the chief district court judge?
Oh, I talked to that office.
And
they are going to get back to me.
How long ago was this?
That was March.
Well, we're in November? You didn't think you should follow up?
It's hard. It's so emotionally draining. It's like it's debilitating. I literally, just thinking about it, have a hard time breathing. It's like exhale. It's hard.
Do you have anything else, Miss Excuse?
You can tell me about that. I do. Don't have an excuse. Follow up on it. I know it's hard. And if there's any watchers out there, something needs to be done to help.
What does that mean?
To help people like me who can't go to the self-help center, who get caught up in this big snowball where everything's just taken away from you. And the cards are stacked against you. They have lawyers for their lawyers.
Let me tell you what would help.
What?
An oversight committee, which the legislative branch would have to put one in place for the judiciary.
A panel.
An oversight committee, term limits on judges, that would help. A jury box in the family courtroom.
I've thought that.
Would
I don't know if that's allowed.
Or a tribunal. Remove and retain would help. And to take away judicial immunity.
Yeah.
That would definitely help. If you put all these things in motion, you wouldn't end up being
There's
in family
implicit
court.
bias there, and
you wouldn't end up being in family court since 2008.
A decade of my life is gone. I can't get that back. I can't get back birthdays, Christmases.
Qualified immunity is what I was.
Qualified immunity. Yeah, I know. I was drawing a blank too. That's what you said. I was like,
if they get rid of qualified immunity.
But negligence.
That'll open them up for negligence.
Right.
What price do you put on missing a birthday or not having money to buy your child a birthday present?
Sure.
Being evicted and having to go, shout out to St. Elizabeth for helping.
It's a huge domino effect when you allow these judges to walk into your bedroom like that.
I'm not any better. He doesn't have to pay penalties on this money he's owed for 10 years.
And you know what? And these orders have to have bite instead of bark.
I just got the order. We were in court in March. I just received it I just now received it. So
Many judges out there will put an order together to pacify you, but they have no intention of enforcing it. So
when it comes to the kids, though, it has to have enforcement. All of the things that happened, most of them would have been prevented with enforcement of their orders. Yeah. But I think a panel, like I said, it was easy to deal with the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. They were very easy, very clear, thorough.
Because
they went through every piece of paper.
It's a panel of what, 7 of them if you get the entire Supreme Court?
Well, they...
and the appellate court is a panel of 3.
Yes, that's who ended up doing it. But had I known, I would have asked that the Supreme Court retain it, because this is a matter of public interest.
But when you have one person making the decision of everybody, they feel they have such God gift of power.
But how can you say there's no bias there?
There is.
There is.
Well, there's bias. Well, I mean,
there's implicit bias.
Just to put it all together the way I'm looking at it, like, okay, and Steve and I have, and we've went over this for years. Every human being has bias, no matter how pure you are.
Yep.
Every human being has bias. So it's just it's. That's why I can't remember if it's the 7th or the 14th, because 14th is due process. It might be 7th.
No, 7th is jury.
Yeah, that's
14th is,
what about a right to counsel? Like
14 is a fair judiciary.
Right. Well, and so basically what I'm trying to say is in family court we get into this like no jury, that and you don't have a right to an attorney. And then it is just one person making that decision. Like, it's not saying that every single one of those judges are bad. No. It's just like, you need to be checked. Like, I don't know how many times I've filled out my ballot or whatever, or I've had this, I thought was the best idea ever. I call Steve up and I'm like, hey, this is what I think should happen. And he's like, what? Hold on a second, Jim. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? I'm like, no.
Well, see, Forsberg was appointed actually first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then she was elected.
So I'm just saying, like, we need to, like, just eliminate the one person says all things.
And now she wants to be promoted to the appellate court.
She destroyed my family. I have not seen my son.
Well, at least in the appellate court should be overthrown by her peers.
I see, and she actually would seem on paper, to be a good candidate for judge, only because, she's worked with child this, and this. But when you have a supposed professional writing things that are not official, it's all hearsay. They basically have destroyed my reputation, and it was terrible. Like, out of, like, just throwing allegations, defamation, like my character, because their character is so far gone that they have to bring me down to that to like level it. It's ridiculous.
Ms. Balle, we're kind of running out of time.
Listen, Steve.
Somebody didn't show up on time for us.
Hey, somebody didn't want me to be here. I don't know.
So, do we have everything that you wanted?
Who is running against Forsberg right now?
Deborah Westbrook.
Vote for Deborah Westbrook.
So, Jim, you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
Well, I'm going to let you get the final word, and you look into the camera. Mark's going to zoom in on you. And then you tell people whether stay out of family court or don't vote for Rhonda Forsberg or whatever the story is you want to say. And then a point of contact if you want to give one. You okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, go.
Alrighty, so what I want to say is to make sure you know who your judicial officers are. Read about them, study them. People vote for president, vice president. Well, go a little bit farther down the line because it's more important than you might think. Going into family court here in Southern Nevada, you have to start there. However, I would highly recommend try not to spend too much time there. It's not fair, and if you have kids, I hope it changes. If you're a mom or a dad out there and you can't afford an attorney, there are no resources here, really. So I can't help you with that. Just, you have to do it yourself. And unfortunately, that is horrible, but that's facts. So, if you want to contact me, I probably shouldn't give that email out. Yeah, you can contact me at sinnylowho@gmail.com. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Ms. Balle, for coming on the program.
Yeah.
I know it's never easy when you come and talk about yourself, and
It's not, but
and especially as something as sensitive as family court. But thank you so much.
You could see me. I'm like, exhale. It's hard.
Jim, thank you. Folks, that's Cynthia Balle, who's talking about the corruption and the lack of oversight in Clark County Family Court, and majority by the hands of Rhonda Forsberg, who is a family court judge trying to get promoted to the appellate court, and I don't think that should happen. You probably want to vote for the other candidate, which would be Deborah Westbrook, and send a clear message to these family court corrupt judges that as long as you stay corrupt, you're not going to get promoted anywhere in this city or state. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. Don't forget to vote. Until next time.